so long. It is very much like constant. Like it is a 100%. You got to put everything into that in order to get something out of it.
But I have unwritten rules now, and I don't know where I heard this from, but it's an amazing tip. In the past, I used to cancel something if I was feeling really anxious in the morning, and I used to cancel like the first thing. I used to be really guilty. Think, oh no, I've let them down. I don't do that anymore. If I
How do you get past that though? What's
oh,
like?
mate, you just got to be really strong, and you've got to know it's for you. I think you've got to acknowledge how vulnerable you are as a person, and you've got to create rules for yourself that if that happens, that is what happens on that day. So I might have a mentor meeting in the morning. It might be 10 o'clock. If I'm feeling really, really anxious and I know I need some me time,
Yeah.
there's no problem in me now. I ring that person up and I will tell them, because the people that we work with now, I've never had one person come back and go, "What do you mean? You're joking?" They always go, "Mate, I get you.
Yeah.
No problem," because
Very, very
they're in the same
understanding.
position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about being honest, isn't it? And I, I, I don't tend to work with people now where I feel as though I've got to lie, or I feel as though I've got to make something up, because if I made something up, that's when the guilt comes in.
Right.
Whereas actually, if I just tell the truth now, even if it was a meeting with the Department of Work and Pensions, they know me well enough now that if I'm really struggling in that morning and I need to go out on my bike, I'll tell them, and all I get is no problem. Why wouldn't they?
What about you, Matt? Because you
Me?
started doing like, you start get like, like back into work and everything now. How are
Yeah.
you managing that?
So I just keep my head down, keep going, just do the best I can, and just enjoy it. To be honest, it's quite rewarding working with Chris and working for Bespoke. So just being able to do that, it makes it easier to do it because it's something you enjoy.
Yeah,
So
I also mentioned this quite a few times. Working and doing like any level of like work or voluntary work with Chris is uh quite validating. You don't feel like obliged to be anywhere, and just the same as like I'd get from Chris. It's easy to turn around and just be like, "Mate, I've had a shit day," or like, "Mate, I've had a really shit like last couple of days," and like I just can't get out of bed today. And it's not just, "Oh, dude, you like yeah you got to do this." Like we need we're depending on it. It's just like, "Yeah, man, I get it. Don't stress."
I think it's because Chris is just so informal. He's just so chilled and relaxed. He just doesn't need to.
But also, it doesn't happen
show
every day, does
yeah.
it? And,
No.
and if it did, I'd be the one to come around your house to have a cup of tea and say,
Yeah.
what's going on? You all right and stuff? Whereas once a month, perhaps, or once every couple of weeks, if it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.